Yeah, we are live, I think. Yeah, we are live.
Welcome everyone watching us tonight live on Facebook. Tonight we discuss coronavirus, Moroccans stranded abroad, any chance of coming back home soon. Morocco received local and international praise for its response to the COVID-19 crisis, whether in collecting billions of Moroccan dirhams for the special fund dedicated to the management of the crisis in the country, or in cooperating with other countries to repatriate foreign citizens. Morocco's government, however, is facing criticism, again from both local and international observers, due to the lack of an immediate response to the situation of Moroccans stranded abroad. There are currently over 31,000 Moroccans who don't know when they will be allowed to come home. Head of government Saadetdine Al-Athmani acknowledged that the situation is worrisome, but he failed to communicate to the public any governmental plan to repatriate the citizens. First lockdown extensions, second lockdown extension, yet very little progress on the issue, at least not until the country's borders reopen. What is behind the government's lack of action? What does it say of the intrinsic value of Moroccans vis-a-vis their own country and government? Will stranded Moroccans come home soon? We discuss the topic tonight with our guests, Dr. Salmane Tariq El Allami, professor at Mohammed V University and expert in media and humanities, Mrs. Karima Rhanem, expert in public policy, strategic and digital communication and diplomacy, and Mrs. Khaula Chafik, the founder of Facebook support group for stranded Moroccans. Mrs. Chafik is herself stranded in the Maldives since the beginning of the nationwide lockdown. I want to start with understanding what life is like right now for over 31,000 Moroccans stuck in the country, in a country that is not their own. For a first-hand testimonial from one Moroccan stranded abroad, Mrs. Chafik, you have been stuck in the Maldives for over 2 months now. Can you describe the situation for you and other fellow Moroccan citizens that you have been in contact with through your Facebook support group?
First of all, thank you to everyone, and especially to Morocco World News for giving me the chance today for sharing my sufferings, and also as I'm speaking on behalf of all the stranded Moroccans abroad. As everyone knows that Morocco suspended flights into the country in due to the novel coronavirus pandemic. So more than 38 Moroccan have been stuck abroad right now. Some have lost their money and their jobs as well, and while others they have been living and sleeping in the streets. So for us in Maldives, it's quite different. We all work here in the tourism industry currently. So when the borders closed, all our employers, they ask us to leave because we work in the resorts. So they cannot keep a resort open for 400 employees here. Most of the other nationalities, they left, and all our colleagues, we can see them every day receiving flights, and then they're leaving the country. And except Moroccans, we didn't receive even one answer from our government. It's really heartbreaking to see that, and we are living in a serious conditions currently, especially that we don't have enough food, and also the unedible food that we have. And we have, like, they're cutting the power every day 5 to 6 hours. Some of my colleagues that they are in Maldives, like around 35, then it might be even more. Some of them, they are not receiving their salaries, and some of them, they already resigned. And the most critical point is that we are not allowed to leave the islands where we will live. So for example, I'm living in an island which is 2 kilometers. So I am not allowed to go even to see the doctor, which is really, 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 for me, I cannot survive like that. And I'm having severe asthma, I'm having lung infection, and I contacted already the embassy in India in order to assist me maybe to go out and see the doctor, but unfortunately they failed to do that. As I am having like a Facebook page, I'm receiving every day hello, I'm receiving every day like unlimited number of messages from people seeking help. Some of them are eating from the garbage. Some of them, they started already begging for money from people in the streets. Some of them even are girls. They are living in the streets and sleeping in the streets, which is unacceptable to see a Moroccan citizen, which they have their own money back home, their houses and a lot of resources back home, and they are living in a disaster situation in abroad. And for me, I feel ashamed to hear that, and I try to help from my side as much I can. I try to connect with other people in order to provide them with accommodation and food, but however, the pressure was above my limits, so it is a lot.
What about embassies? Have they reached out to you? Have you heard from them? Have you had any support from them?
So honestly, our embassy, which is my own case, they answer our calls, they answer our messages on WhatsApp, however, without any assistance. I mean, they just say hi, bye. I mean, there is nothing else they can give us. And I, as the person who's in touch with a lot of Moroccans stuck, I cannot blame the embassies and the consulates. Never ever. Why? Because they are doing their job, and they don't have enough money even to help us in order to afford our accommodation or food or whatever, even like medical parts. So they can't do much, and they don't have enough information from Moroccan government. So even some of them, they are telling us that they don't have enough information to share with us. I think there is a problem with the sound. Some of them, they are even complaining that Moroccan authorities, they are not replying to their emails. Their Moroccan authorities, they are not even sharing with them what are the scenarios and what are the strategies they are coming up with and all these things. So honestly, yes, I can say that the embassies and consulates, yes, they helped. I think the minority, which is 25% of the stranded, and the rest they left behind, which is they are staying under their expenses. Some they stayed with the family, and some they stayed in the street, and some foreigners they helped them, and some we managed to help them. So for me, embassies, they did what they asked to do. That's it.
Thank you, Mrs. Chafik. That is quite revealing and unfortunate. Dr. El Allami, who is to blame for the predicament that Mrs. Chafik and over 31,000 other Moroccans find themselves in? Some have blamed the Ministry of Foreign Affairs for not taking due diligence. Others are blaming the Ministry of Health and the Ministry of Interior. But who has the political authority to make the decision to bring Moroccans home?
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. And Khaula, I wish you good luck, and I hope you will be, inshallah, strong to overcome this difficult situation. In fact, we feel sorry. We feel pity for all, our Moroccans, families, friends, relatives stranded abroad. Well, who is to blame? I think in times of crisis, and we all know this, in times of war, in times of natural disaster, in times of crisis in general, nobody is to blame, because everybody is to blame. I think there is no specific institution because this very crisis, it requires a collective, holistic approach to deal with it, to handle it, and to manage it. I don't think that any government all over the world can let its citizens abroad in a difficult situation without supporting them, without helping them. So it is not a matter of ignorance or neglecting them, but I think it's a matter of know-how, waiting for the institutions to prepare the adequate measures to know how to deal with the situation. The situation is complex. It's multidimensional, multifaceted. It is highly complex and highly difficult to manage because it is a matter of fear of the risk of increasing infection. It is a matter of rights, of human rights. It's their right. These people, they are citizens. They are Moroccan citizens. So it's their right to come back home and to come back to see their families and their work and their whole country. But at the same time, it's complex because we have to think of after coming back home, how to handle the situation, how to deal with it. So I think that it's not a single responsibility or duty of one single institution or department. It's inter-department, it's multidimensional, and the Minister of Health, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, the Minister of Tourism, airline agencies, even the civil society, all are required to come up with a well worked out plan to deal with the situation.
What about the responsibility of the head of government? Can one single ministry make a decision without coordination with other ministries, especially the Ministry of Health and the Ministry of Interior?
No, let's say the head of the government cannot take a decision by himself. It's impossible. The coordination with other departments is a must. It's a must. Well, we may criticize him for saying, well, these people will come back once the borders are opened or reopened. Of course, once they are opened, they will come back. But how to do it and when to do it? I think one of the major problems our friends and relatives and family, stranded people in foreign countries face is lack of information. I think it is their right to have clear information, to have a clear plan, and to be informed because we all understand they suffer from psychological unrest, they suffer from financial problems, they face uncertainty, they're afraid of the future, of the infection, of so many, but they also suffer from the lack of information and transparency. Hello?
I think we're losing her.
Hello, I can hear you, Karima.
Yeah, I think probably we're losing our moderator, our host. Maybe meanwhile she's coming back.
Go ahead.
Yeah, meanwhile she's coming back, I would like to comment on what has been said. I think if I want to put myself on the shoes of more than 30,800 Moroccans who are stranded abroad, and also thinking of the many Moroccans also inside the country who have been separated from their beloved families, and they are also living in difficult situations. It's very difficult when you put yourself in their shoes. Their social, economic, and psychological impact is very, very critical and serious, especially that it has been nearly 3 months that these people are living in uncertainty. This uncertainty is characterized not only for their particular situation, but as you see, the health state emergency have been extended 3 times. And now we said we're going to go out on June 10, but we don't know because we don't have a vision, we don't have a plan what should look like after this health emergency. So this uncertainty is creating public outcry, is creating fear, And we can understand how the psychological impact, more specifically on all Moroccans, whether Moroccans living abroad or Moroccans stranded abroad or Moroccans even separated. Here have been seen a lot of cases of Moroccans who have suffered so much because they've been stuck in other cities other than theirs, and they could not join their families for 3 months now, and their economic situation is difficult. So that's for one. The second, I think we've been talking now, as we're talking now, today we saw the news that 300 Moroccans will be brought back from Algeria to be quarantined in Saidia. And before that, there were 200 Moroccans who came back from Ceuta. Of course, I agree with you when you said that the statement by the head of the government might not be appropriate, might create confusion and increase this lack of uncertainty, because when he said that Moroccans will be brought back when the borders will be opened, it means that, you know, when the borders will be opened, these Moroccans will be back by themselves. So I think there need to be an improvement in terms of communication. In my opinion, I think I agree with you that the biggest issue surrounding this problem is lack of information and lack of transparent communication over this issue in times of crisis. And, you know, let me outline here a few points, if you allow me. I think the first point that I wanted to bring here is that we get a lot of information from different sources and from different interlocutors, official and non-official. That's a serious problem, because this leaves rooms for misinterpretation and rumors. Maybe Khaula later could, tell us her feelings, how she's feeling when she's reading different information from different sources, verified, non-verified, and that what creates, what kind of impact it creates on the psychology of Moroccans when reading these type of information. Because in my opinion, this raises a lot of expectations, and also it creates hope, maybe false hopes. Oh,
Exactly.
biased hopes,
It
yeah.
is,
Exactly,
indeed.
and later it creates deception. So I think that's a true problem that should have been dealt with much more transparent communication. Also, I think the second point here is that there is no clarity of who's doing what. As you said, in times of crisis, we cannot blame one single administration, because I think our moderator is back, cyber connection. So I think here is when we have no clarity of who's doing what, I think there's nobody to blame, because in times of crisis, there are different administrations who are handling the same issue. And the flow or the process of the decision-making process is very complex, because we have Ministry of Foreign Affairs with all different departments. We have consulates, we have Ministry of Interior, we have Ministry of Health and military and different other administrations that needs to take a decision, you know, when bringing back these Moroccans who are blocked abroad. So and I think maybe the only thing that could have been done better, there is a committee that is working on preparing a plan, okay, but it should have been better to have a spokesperson from this committee, so that at least we have a kind of updated information and transparent information to ensure at least there is a flow of communication with these Moroccans. So that has not been done, because at a certain time, there have been a gap, there have been a lot of silence, and this silence created confusion, misinterpretation, and a lot of rumors. And this, I think, impacted many Moroccans who started feeling that they have been abandoned. So the issue of communication, I think, is one of the biggest problems during this crisis. Maybe I can add further on as we were discussing and as our moderator is back?
Yes. Sorry, Asma, I have just to say one thing since we started this conversation already. So in regards to who to blame, I personally, as a stranded person, this is what I see. And most of us, we see the same thing. So as a Minister of Foreign Affairs, as somebody who's taking the lead of all these things, at least he had to go on couple of interviews to show us and inform us what is he doing, because we saw him only once during 3 months. This is one. When we talk about the head of the government, this is another story. He is every time coming with a new story, and even there was a lot of contradictors in terms of statistics and all these things. So they are not on the same page. Them responsibles and all these things. So they are not on the same page. They don't know what they're saying. I think we are, as stranded Moroccans, we have more information than they have, and we have like more statistics and clear statistics more than they have. And what is really for me, I can't even accept it, is that they every time they go on any interview, they keep on saying that everyone is safe, everyone is okay, everyone is we are feeding a lot of people, we already offered accommodation and all these things, but that's not correct, that's not true. So I'm not sure whether the embassies and the consulate, they don't transfer the correct message that we deliver to them to the right person, or these people, they don't want to really assume what happened. So there is a problem in between, but who made the problem, I have no idea. Thank you. Asma, you can go ahead.
No. Are you hearing us, Asma? I don't think we hear you. I think you have a mic problem, Asma.
What about me, Karima?
I can hear you.
You can hear us? Okay, go ahead.
Yes.
Karima, can you hear me?
Yeah, yes. Asma, do you hear us? I think there is a connection problem. Asma, do you hear us? I don't think, do you want to add something, Dr. Tariq? Maybe meanwhile, she's fixing her connection issue.
Well, I mean, I understand the situation of stranded Moroccans. I share, I mean, sympathy with them. And as you said, Karima, if we put ourselves in their shoes,